also had a fabulous quote that I had to bring up because I can't memorize. And it's from Casablanca, which I have never seen, so feel free to shame me now. I know. Okay. Okay, somebody else has a thing. God bless you, people. All right, I just like. Okay, right. So here's, I've sort of taken this off track. Shocking. All right, so this is Captain Renault to Rick in Casablanca. Means nothing to me. I've often speculated why you don't return to America. Did you abscond with church funds? Abscond. Run off with a senator's wife? I like to think you killed a man. It's the romantic in me. It's a little dark. And now I'm gonna take it up to 11. Childhood injury. So I asked, and I fell off my bike, or I broke my nose in badminton. John, my most memorable childhood injury, a broken heart. So if you guys could hug John later, I think he's working through some stuff right now. All right, so here's our final speaker of the night, John Forrest.
Hey nerds, I'm a science fiction writer, and I'm here to convince you that science fiction matters more than ever. To start, consider our own Milky Way, 100 billion stars. Recently, the Juno spacecraft set a speed record of 165,000 miles per hour. If we moved that fast, it'd still take us 700 million years to cross our galaxy, and there are 100 billion galaxies out there that we can see, a universe of limitless stories. But to keep it simple, Marvin Minsky, who's the co-founder of MIT's Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, said, "General fiction is about the ways that people fuck up their lives. Science fiction is about everything else." So, for example, Darcy and Keira Knightley here, they do eventually find love, but Pride and Prejudice only works because these pasty upper classes make themselves miserable despite their privilege. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Jane Austen, but only 5 years after she invented the romantic comedy, her contemporary, Mary Shelley, gave us a tortured genius who defies death and reinvents life. I mean, actually, fuck romantic comedies. I mean, so 200 years before now, Shelley was foreseeing that we needed this transhumanist ethic. Don't hate what you create. But she did something interesting which still haunts us today. Her protagonist ends up rejecting his creation. So the monster is only a monster because his dad is an asshole. Minsky wasn't quite right. The sci-fi protagonists still mess up their lives, but the stakes are way bigger. And this has never been more important than right now because this shit's getting real. Hello, Googlenstein. Google wants you to live forever. And good luck. But science fiction wants to know what this means now, before we all dive in, before companies like Tesla take our minds off of our everyday tasks, or Apple fills our life 24/7, or DARPA automates warfare, or Facebook perfects this echo chamber hive mind we're all in right now, or IBM actually starts doing your thinking for you. I mean, does anybody see how this shit could go really wrong? So Orwell did foresee that we'd all be watched all the time, and there'd be cameras everywhere, and we'd trade our freedoms for convenience, and he foresaw all that stuff. But what he didn't see is that we would actually carry our tracking devices willing with us all the time. So it's like this. We've got so it's like this. We've got these stories like Blade Runner, where we've got characters in Blade Runner. There's another Frankenstein's monster who, Roy, the replicant, he murders his maker and gets Blade Runner is essentially about death, which is something that we've all been part of us for thousands of years. And that's in stories like Ex Machina, where the Frankenstein's monster escapes her prison and kills her captors, and then she's free. And she's a recursively self-improving artificial intelligence, and humans treated her like shit, which also appears in stories like Kubrick's 2001 and Arthur C. Clarke's 4 books. And Arthur C. Clarke was an optimist, but he still believed us capable of incredible self-destruction and portrayed us as both the Frankensteins and the monsters, that we mistreated the computer Hal, who goes predictably apeshit, and then at the same time, we're looking at the monolith, which is actually our Frankenstein. And all this might seem quite confusing, but actually the subtext is really clear, that in this theater, right now, at this moment, we're all both Frankensteins and monsters, and that this is about the technologies we adopt or reject. More importantly, it's about the ways that we love or reject each other. And the future might be about the ways that we fuck up our lives, or it might be about everything else. And tonight I chose Frankenstein as a work of science fiction to just demonstrate why these stories are still important. But it's not all doom and gloom. I could have chosen Ursula Le Guin's excellent Left Hand of Darkness, which just explores all these just luscious ideas about gender and the fluidity of identity. Or we could have talked about the optimistic works of Kim Stanley Robinson in 2312, which explodes ideas about modern economics and offers this worldview where capitalism and socialism work together with zero-gravity swingers parties. But I'm out of time, so read more science fiction, watch more science fiction, just be sure it's the good stuff. Thanks.